Meghan Markle's latest monetization bid looks set to be her most sick stunt yet.
Let's speak with Angela Levin, the royal biographer who joins us, a regular on the programme. Morning to you, Angela.
The silence out of Montecito this morning isn't just quiet, it is deafening. Silence isn't innocence, it is gasoline. And Prince William just dropped the match. For years, the public has watched the Sussex camp play a very specific game. The leaks, the carefully timed paparazzi strolls in parking lots. But yesterday, the game changed. Because yesterday, the future King of England decided he was done playing. This was not a PR statement. This was not a subtle leak to the British press. This was a nuclear detonation aimed directly at the foundation of the Sussex brand. William, acting as the absolute enforcer of the institution, deployed a maneuver with such surgical precision that it has left Meghan Markle scrambling, completely cornered, and hemorrhaging whatever credibility she had left to understand the sheer scale of this narrative collapse. We have to look at the desperate new stunt Meghan attempted to pull. It was an illusion, of course. A calculated, incredibly cynical attempt to hijack the one thing she knows she can never legitimately possess. The true royal legacy, we are talking about a covert, highly coordinated operation to launch a new global umbrella brand. But this wasn't American Riviera Orchard.
No one wants to buy into Meghan's aesthetic or Meghan's lifestyle.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. Meghan does this because, yes, she can't do it on her own.
This was something much darker. Forensics into newly filed trademark applications in Delaware, the exact same. The state where they hide their other shell. Companies reeled a series of blind trusts, attempting to trademark phrases directly tied to the crown, and more sickeningly, to the Spencer family name. She thought she was operating in the shadows. She thought the network of Hollywood lawyers and PR fixers could slip this past the palace. While the king was distracted, she forgot about William. He watches, and then he strikes. Sources close to Kensington Palace confirmed that William's office didn't just find these filings, they conducted a ruthless audit. They pulled every thread, verified every hidden LLC, and traced the digital footprints right back to Meghan's desk. And then, William did something entirely unprecedented.
After posting what sources told RadarOnline.com was a carefully curated glimpse inside her Montecito wardrobe. I don't think we have seen a more desperate week where, I call it her flood the zone strategy. It's like something goes.
He didn't complain. He didn't explain. He legally blockaded it. William's legal team filed immediate, crushing cease and desist orders globally, effectively placing a guillotine over Meghan's new enterprise before she could even print the letterhead. The trap was sprung. The exposure was absolute. Let us be a fly on the wall inside the Montecito mansion right now. The house is cavernous. The silence of the estate is heavy, almost oppressive. There are no normal family sounds here. No children laughing in the halls. No toys scattered on the immaculate rugs. There is only the frantic tapping of a keyboard and the sharp clipped tone of a woman realizing her master plan just evaporated. He is hollowed out, a ghost of a man wandering through a life he doesn't recognize. He is the ultimate victim of a recruitment operation that has finally run out of runway. He looks at his phone, terrified, waiting for a call from his brother that will never come. Meghan is not sad. She is never sad. She is strictly calculating. She is reframing the truth in real time, screaming at her remaining staff, demanding to know who leaked the Delaware documents. She relies on ambiguity to survive, but William just stripped all the ambiguity away.
Heat that's out there at the moment. And then I thought, here we are complaining, and poor old Meghan and Harry.
To invoke the memory of the late Princess Diana. And I think if this does go forward, Dan.
He provided the receipts. It didn't start today. It started years ago. The yachting rumors, the bullying reports, the inconsistencies in the timelines that we have covered extensively. But this was the final line in the sand. William just showed the world that the institution is no longer on the defensive. The audit is complete, and for the Duchess, there is no escape. The curtain falls. History will remember this as the exact moment she lost everything. Let us look at the forensics of this Delaware operation. You do not set up a blind trust in the dead of night unless you are trying to hide something massive. The filings were an illusion. a labyrinth of shell companies designed to mask the ultimate beneficiary.
Looks like, because there's the other one from last week too, where it's almost like creepily seductive in the way that she's eating. And I'm like, who are you trying to sell to? Like,
built on the assumption that the palace moves too slowly to catch the digital paper trail. But William's team bypassed the PR spin and went straight for the metadata. This was a forensic audit of the highest order. They tracked the IP addresses. They followed the money flowing from vanity projects directly into these new, aggressive commercial entities. And what did they find? A master ledger. A specific, highly classified dossier compiled over years by palace enforcers. There is a file you can reference named Luke, and inside that file is the complete timeline of the Sussex brand's quiet, desperate attempts to monetize the Spencer legacy and the Crown's intellectual property. It didn't start today. It started years ago. Think back to the early days.
Renewing vows in the media, and now I'm wondering if the issue isn't renewing them, it's finding enough people willing to attend.
I think their sons are keen on girls and not doing it. But what the problem with his is now his...
The yachting rumors that were aggressively scrubbed from the internet, the sudden, inexplicable rise through Marcus and the network, the relentless NDA culture that silenced anyone who asked too many questions. Every single anomaly, every sealed document, every medical discrepancy regarding the children and the DL rumors it, all points to a singular pattern of absolute control and narrative manipulation. She built a fortress of secrets, assuming the royal family would always protect her. To protect themselves, when you look at the trademark applications exposed by William, the micro-expressions of the Sussex strategy become glaringly obvious. They wait for a moment of perceived weakness in the monarchy, a health crisis, a distraction, and then they launch the stunt.
Poor thing, Meghan Markle. Life really does humble you. And then she posted this video, and it was very effective, P. Dinah, because it showed how these people do love celebrating their friends' moments, usually.
They try to plant their flag in the ground before anyone notices, but the network failed her this time. The Hollywood fixers, the crisis managers, the aggressive lawyers who normally send out threatening letters, they are all completely paralyzed. You cannot threaten the future King of England. You cannot bully the sovereign wealth of the Crown. Inside the Montecito compound, the hemorrhaging of staff continues, but today, no one is allowed to leave the premises. The few who remain are trapped in the fallout zone. Meghan does not retreat. She recalibrates. She demands to know how William knew. She is obsessed with the leak. She paces the floor, her mind spinning, trying to find a new angle. A new victim narrative to sell to the American media to...
The whole brand has always been a complete disaster because she doesn't know how to sell a lifestyle brand. I mean...
What is she doing in that moment? That clip was just so out of the norm. Like, get your jam, have some bread or something there.
Explain why her global lifestyle brand just hit a brick wall. But the silence from London is what terrifies her the most. Because silence isn't just a lack of communication. In this high-stakes game, silence is a weapon. The institution is no longer explaining itself. They are no longer complaining. They are simply acting with surgical precision. And Harry, he sits in the peripheral vision of this chaos, the recruitment operation that pulled him away from his family. His duty and his country is now fully exposed as a commercial grift. He looks at the legal documents bearing his mother's family name, twisted into a cheap branding exercise, now stamped with a royal C-stamp. The realization is heavy. He is completely hollowed out. The trap he helped build, the narrative he helped sell, is now the cage he cannot escape. The financial scaffolding of the Sussex Empire didn't just crack today. It completely disintegrated.
So distasteful about this woman. She just does things that are so not the way things are done. You know, the fact that Harry hasn't even met, her father. They don't care about the traditions, the norms of etiquette.
When Prince William authorized the legal blockade against Meghan's covert Delaware filings, he wasn't just protecting the Crown's intellectual property. He was cutting off the oxygen supply to a multi-million-dollar global network. For 5 years, the narrative has been that Montecito was independently wealthy, fueled by massive streaming deals and mysterious venture capital. But the pseudo-forensic audit launched by Kensington Palace has exposed a far darker reality. It didn't start today. It started years ago. If you review the timeline of the Arkowell Foundations and the web of blind trusts spanning from Delaware to the Cayman Islands, the anomalies are glaring. Financial forensic experts who have examined the file known as Luke _ to point out a terrifying pattern of asset shifting, shell companies, and unexplained capital flights. The public was told that American Riviera Orchard was a lifestyle brand. They were told it was about jam, linens, and domestic bliss.
Because she always feels that she has the right answers better. And I think she had been told about her jams, but this is something that she wanted to do because she was trying to emulate all the things that are being sold by the monarchy, like the kings.
But the documents unearthed in the Luke _ to file suggest something entirely different. It was a liquidation vehicle, a desperate, last-ditch effort to move assets out of joint accounts and into unfreezable private entities before the ultimate curtain falls. Let us look closely at the micro-expressions of this collapse. When you look at the rare public appearances of Prince Harry over the last few months, he isn't just tired. He looks hollowed out, paranoiac. He is a man who realizes he has been completely weaponized by the network. Every piece of data, every bank account, every signature he put on those Delaware documents was done under the illusion of partnership. He believed they were building a legacy. He didn't realize he was signing his own financial death warrant. Now, let us step back inside the walls of the Montecito mansion. The atmosphere is toxic. The silence of the house is no longer peaceful.
They're not actually deciding exactly. Well, this was the at Royal Ascot.
I was going through Nicole Avant's social media and I saw that she had attended some events and there were all these A-listers there.
It is predatory. In a normal home, you would hear the ambient sounds of life. You would hear children playing, the clatter of a family kitchen, the warmth of a shared existence. Here, there is only the cold, sterile hum of the air conditioning and the deafening silence of an empty fortress. The children are nowhere to be seen, tucked away in the deep recesses of the estate, shielded from the psychological warfare raging in the master wing. Harry is standing in his private study, staring at a laptop screen that refuses to refresh. His joint access to the primary corporate accounts has been revoked. The security tokens are invalid. He makes a frantic call to his financial advisors in London, his voice cracking with a mixture of rage and terror. The response from the other end of the line is cold, calculated, and final. The money is gone, a sum totaling upwards of $12 million. Dollars has been systematically wired out of the joint accounts over the last 72 hours. He runs down the grand hallway, his boots echoing against the limestone floor. He demands answers. He confronts Meghan in her office, where the blinds are drawn tight against the California sun. Meghan does not panic. She does not cry. She is incapable of normal human grief because she is always shifting the chess pieces. She turns to him, her face a mask of absolute strategic calculation.
Wrong, legally, but the perception is your life's a little bit, a bit murky.
Probably does make more sense than this lifestyle brand, which just isn't working. And the problem is, Pete Diner, what we're now seeing.
She relies entirely on ambiguity to survive. She doesn't deny the transfer. Instead, she reframes the truth she tells him it was a defensive measure. She tells him William is trying to freeze their assets, that the palace is executing a global takedown, and that she moved the funds to protect their future. But Harry is finally waking up from the deep, hypnotic state of this recruitment operation. For the first time, he looks at her and doesn't see a savior. He sees the architect of his ruin. He looks at the desk and notices the luggage tags, the flight confirmations. The network is no longer protecting them. The Hollywood power players, the crisis managers, the billionaires who used to offer their private jets, they have all gone completely dark. When William deployed the enforcer strategy, he signaled to the global elite that the Sussex brand was radioactive. Anyone who touches them now faces the full, unyielding diplomatic and financial weight of the British monarchy. The escape route has been cut off. The legal guillotine is dropping. And as Harry stands in that silent, suffocating room, he realizes the terrifying truth. He isn't the co-captain of this ship. He is the asset that has been fully depleted. And the discard phase has officially begun. The psychological wall surrounding the Montecito fortress has not just cracked, it has completely caved in. When the financial ledger of Archewell was systematically exposed by Prince William's global legal blockade, it laid bare more than just missing millions. It laid bare the absolute cost of human wreckage left in the wake of the Duchess. For half a decade, the narrative presented to the public was one of progressive leadership, modern philanthropy, and emotional intelligence. But if you peer past the polished PR veneer and look straight into the forensic anomalies of the Sussex operations, a far darker pattern emerges. It is a pattern of calculated extraction.
Not trying to just steal the late Princess Diana's, name to sell your clothing, but this is why she chose it. But I can't imagine that she was advised that this would be something that you should try to make as a business. I think
Absolute control and psychological warfare against anyone who dared to draw a paycheck from the Sussex brand. It didn't start today. It started years ago, if you review the timeline of their rapid exit from London. The real catalyst was never the British tabloid press. It was the impending exposure of a highly classified document locked deep within the vaults of Buckingham Palace. A file that insiders refer to verbatim as Luke_3. This file contains the raw, loaning unedited transcripts of the palace bullying investigation, a collection of sealed documents, HR emails, and witness testimonies from high staffers who entered the household as elite professionals and left as hollowed-out shells of their former selves.
when you look at her trying to sell clothing on her type of body frame, it doesn't SpongeBob type of body, like really small, skinny legs and like a upper.
The public was told that senior courtiers were simply stuck in their ways, that they couldn't handle a modern, independent woman shaking up the royal institution. But the data compiled in the Luke_3 dossier tells a terrifyingly different story. It details what staffers secretly dubbed the Dawn Raids.
I strategize about this. What do I need to do better? How can we turn this around?
And when I saw that view of the closet, it looks like a closet, like what we call here in America, or a cabinet, a wardrobe.
At 5 a.m., while the rest of the world was asleep, the digital shelling would begin. Dozens of emails, all written in a frantic, demanding tone, screaming about everything from the exact shade of a ceremonial blanket to the precise placement of a camera angle. It was a relentless 24-hour cycle of manufactured chaos designed to keep the workers in a perpetual state of hypervigilance. Forensic analysts who study corporate gaslighting point to the micro-expressions of Meghan, highly managed public speeches, the constant smile that never quite reaches the eyes, the calculated warmth that completely disappears the exact second the lens pans away. Former protection officers have recounted how she operated when the cameras were off. They called her the hissing Duchess.
Worry about Meghan.
Such a good point, actually. And that's an important philosophy. I spoke to Paula Frolic on this, and she said, no, it's probably just part of the chaos. What do you think?
She didn't yell in public spaces where an audio recording could destroy her illusion. Instead, she would lean in close to a junior aide, maintain a beaming smile for the photographers, and whisper words that would reduce a grown professional to tears before they even left the room. Let us look at the turnover data. It is a forensic anomaly that no PR agency can spin. Samantha Cohen, a veteran courtier who was handpicked by Queen Elizabeth to guide the new Duchess, walked away in total exhaustion. Jason Knopf, the highly respected communications secretary, risked his entire career to blow the whistle on the systematic destruction of young female staffers. 3 nannies vanished from the household in a matter of weeks. The pattern is absolute. You do not bleed that much elite talent that fast unless the entity at the top is predatory. Now, let us step back inside the heavy, suffocating silence of the Montecito mansion right now. The estate is dark. The afternoon sun is completely shut out by heavy, custom-made drapes. In a normal multi-million-dollar family home, there would be a natural sensory baseline. There would be the ambient sound of footsteps, the distant laughter of children playing in the yard.
Like she sits back and she moves her hair. Like, what? Are you exhausted now? Like, it's too much. You got to take a break. Like, what?
Because they could say no. A little child is a very, very different situation. But somebody like that, late teens.
The chaotic, beautiful clutter of toys left on the floor. But inside this fortress, there is an absolute absence of life. The house feels like an immaculate museum of paranoia. The children are kept completely out of sight, locked away in a separate wing under the strict supervision of high-priced handlers who have signed non-disclosure agreements thicker than a government treaty. There is no joy here. There is only the clinical hum of the security monitors and the heavy predatory silence of a trap closing in. Meghan is standing in the grand kitchen, her phone pressed tightly to her ear. She isn't crying. She isn't panicking. She is incapable of normal emotional collapse because her mind is strictly algorithmic. She is shouting at her legal team in Los Angeles, her voice sharp and metallic. She is realizing that the NDAs she forced her staff to sign agreements that threatened to seize their homes and liquid assets if they ever spoke a single word are no longer working as a legal shield. Prince William's surgical audit has bypassed her legal firewall completely. By targeting the institutional records and releasing the technical metadata of the bullying reports to global compliance agencies, the palace is making the data public without ever breaking a single contract. Harry enters the room from the side door. He looks absolutely shattered. His posture is slumped, his eyes vacant, his skin the color of old ash. He is a man who has been completely processed by a long-term recruitment operation. For years, he believed her when she reframed the truth, when she told him that his family was trying to destroy her, that his friends were all